Indulge podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan, and today we have a special guest returning from Via VHS. Got
Wesley.
Wes.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I cut you off. I was like, oh, there's a pause. I guess he's not saying it. Wes, how you doing, man?
I didn't. Am I supposed to say this, or are you supposed to say it? So I just said.
We should have covered that in the briefing. Yeah,
That's okay.
That's okay. Once you're
here.
falling downhill, you just go with it. You just start tucking and rolling.
Yeah, exactly.
But we got Wes back on the show when just kind of a funny thing is that, Wes had us on Via VHS, and we were all talking hardcore about the Super Mario Brothers movie and why we love it so much, and going on about like, man, me and Ryan are going to have more podcasts about the Super Mario Brothers movie than anybody else out there. That is my goal. I want the Guinness Book of World Records to say that. I want to be like, Old Man Orange covered Mario Brothers more than anybody else, and so on. But then it was like, literally like 5 days after we recorded it, it's just like, by the way, here's this extended cut dropped of Super Mario Brothers, kind of just piecemealed together from like all these like random, European versions and, an early rough cut and all this kind of stuff. And this guy's been kind of working on it, putting it back together. And then with the Super Mario Brothers archive and all that kind of stuff, they finally are like, boom, June 1st, dropping it, bop, bop, bop. And it's just like, oh, well, shit. Been wanting to see that forever, and the way that it kind of goes about is something that I almost kind of wish that more movies sort of did, because realistically at the end of the day, it's like, let's just throw all the deleted scenes in, the alternate takes, and so on. But I wish more movies would actually do that, because it's kind of like, when you get a movie and it's got like, hey, there's 20 minutes of deleted scenes, and I was kind of, in my mind, I'm like, even though this might not be the definitive version, but could you guys just edit that right back into the movie and just be like, hey, here's the extended cut, maybe it's not the main version. Do the Ridley Scott thing, like at the beginning of Alien, when he's like, well, it's not really my cut, because, my cut you saw in the theatrical version, but, yeah, they threw a couple deleted scenes in it, so it's Alien Extended. Go fuck yourself. I'm Ridley. And I
Copyright 20th Century Fox. Yeah.
But I like when it's kind of like, okay, here it is. Like, let's put this together. Or the other one I always really think of that's like one of the most kind of amazing things is there's that Mallrats, like where it's like the alternative cut, where Kevin Smith just says like, hey, here's like the completely different intro we had. Here's just alternate scenes and different takes and different jokes. And so it's like, yeah, it's not like the main version of the movie. It's not going to be like Apocalypse Now Redux that kind of just replaced the other one, and now he's trying to replace it with the Final Cut version, but whatever. It's just more like a cool, like, hey, here's an alternative version. And that's almost what Mario Brothers is right here.
I was pissed.
Oh,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was pissed when I saw it because we just did that episode, and then I just have to say one thing, because y'all are the experts on this. I want y'all to talk. But I have to shout out Justin Winters from So I Married a Movie Geek, because he shared it. It was in a tweet. And I responded. I said, I didn't watch the director's cut. I thought there wasn't a thing. And he goes, no, it just dropped today. Yeah. So immediately I messaged Spencer. I was like, shit.
Well,
We got the Snyder cut. Now we got the Morton and Jankel cut.
Yeah, because that's almost kind of what it is and so on. And granted, I feel like, our Via VHS version was more like the retrospective of like, hey, let's go back in time and, talk about, a classic VHS. Where this one's more like, hey, here's this like random, in a sense, fan-made put back together. Because it's not like, Disney, or Hollywood Pictures. It's like, what, by the way, guys, we need to get this cut out here and put the official title on it, and not like Nintendo is doing any of this, so it's definitely...
You're not seeing this on Disney Plus anytime soon.
Yeah, it's definitely the handmade, sewn together, take of it, but the thing is, like, it's rough, but it is really cool just to be able to see this kind of stuff. I mean, this isn't the one that, if someone's like, I've never seen Super Mario Brothers before, you don't go like, hey, guess what we're gonna watch then? The extended rough cut of it, because then they're gonna watch it and be like, oh, well, I kind of see why it didn't do good in theaters. Is this how it came out like? We're like, well, no, these are lost, scenes that appear like on a random VHS tape that sat in some guy's house for like 20 years.
With even the counter at the bottom of the screen, that whole thing. And
yeah.
Well, actually going as far as adding some music into certain parts, too.
Yeah, well, because what this one sort of does is, I think, the way that the guy kind of edited together, and that guy, what was that guy's name again? I want to say it where it was.
Stephen Applebaum? Was it him or Ryan Haas?
No, those are the guys of the Super Mario Brothers archive. The guy who edited this together is his name is Garrett Gilchrist. So he's the one who's been working on this. The Super Mario Brothers Archive guys kind of been the promoters of this, and that's kind of like my take on how this all kind of went. So this dude's been like working on the background. Apparently he's worked on other movies and so on too. So this has been kind of like the passion project, is to put the Mario Brothers extended stuff back in there, and kind of edit together so it take some of these things and make it kind of mesh together good enough and so on. And I think this is like sort of like a first draft. I think he's gonna come out and like put out another one as time goes on, probably just to start stirring up some like talk about it and everything there. But so yeah, that's what this one's kind of going with here. Just as I said, that's not the one that, like, if someone's never seen this before, don't show them this one. They definitely have to be filmmakers to understand like what's going on in these kind of cuts.
So if I can ask you a question, Wes. So like a little bit ago, we were on your show, like Spencer said, and we covered Super Mario Brothers on Via VHS, the cut we got in theaters. And you said that was the first time you'd seen the movie since you were a little kid. And you thought, did I see that movie or was that a fever dream?
Yeah.
And now you watch this movie just a few days later after recording that. Does it feel like Mario movie overload, or is it kind of like, for you, is it a little bit of kind of like, okay, that fills in some blanks here and there? I mean, I don't think there's that many continuity mistakes in the first Mario Bros. The big one, and this one finally gives we knew about it because it was in the script, and they had the clips segregated. The big thing in the movie is the de-evolution scene, where, because when you watch that movie, they de-evolve Toad, and then he gets up walking away, and then they push Koopa into the machine, and suddenly there's a big pile of diarrhea shit on the ground out of nowhere.
And that security guard slips on it and everything like that, like.
And in this movie, we see, okay, there is somebody with a cold, and then he says, oh, take a seat. And then he takes a seat, and he goes in there, and then comes out, just splats ooze. Like, oh, okay, that's how that got there. All right.
That's probably the most important scene, I feel, in this entire thing, because that really does explain a lot. Because that was always the thing, is like, when you're a kid watching that, be like, dude, what's that part right there? And that seat's all covered in ooze all of a sudden, like, the second that, like, when Koopa gets shoved up on there.
Well, not just when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Because I was confused as hell when I watched it the other day, because I rewound it. Because I didn't read the trivia before I watched it. So once I read the trivia, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a cut scene. When I was watching it, I initially rewound it because I'm like, what the hell did I miss? Like, this is important because he slips in it, and that was really, really weird. You see it on the floor, and then I was like, well, I must have missed it. But when I saw the trivia, I was like, okay, there was a scene with that in there. And that ends up being really important to the end of the movie, really, when you think about it. So kind of, I don't understand why they took it out to begin with. I guess it was kind of morbid.
Yeah.
I guess, and maybe too much for kids.
Well, because I think that's sort of it. Because like a lot of the stuff that you can see that's kind of cut, other than like just little extendeds and alternative stuff, is there's a handful of things in there that would have made it kind of like not really like a hard PG-13, but like. It would have pushed the envelope a little bit more. Like, there's also like the one part too, I think, where like when they're walking through and Koopa Town right off the beginning and so on like that. And there's that one lady that turns around in this extended cut. One on's like, like, you mother suckers. It's like, oh, well, I see why that was cut. that one's that's like everybody knows what you're saying right there.
And like having to explain to it, like, why'd she call him that, Mom? Like, oh great,
And then they're almost like a mother sucker almost sounds worse.
It does.
Like, that's almost more offensive.
Yeah.
There is some stuff that, like, a lot of it. I mean, it's not one of those things like, oh, I'm so glad this got taken out of the movie. Not like that. A lot of it's just alternate takes, which can be interesting, but. Most of it's like, you know what, if you've seen the movie, you've generally seen the movie. I really only recommend you watch this particular cut if you really like the movie and if you're curious about things that are missing from the original cut that we saw in theaters or VHS. Now, I do think, though, there are a couple scenes in there that kind of add a little more to it. Like, not the rapping scene, but I thought that there's a couple little passing things with Iggy and Spike, which I think helped develop them a little more. Like, they're still dumbasses, but they're just like, okay, a little bit more to them. Like, when they're driving, when they're in the truck and they're driving, he says like, well, who'd you vote for? Koopa the nice, Koopa the mean, Koopa the green, like, so you only can vote for one guy, just some different titles? Yeah, what do you call that? Democracy.
Yeah, I like that line a lot. I thought that was actually pretty clever because like they had some of those things that almost explains why there's those giant Koopa propaganda posters in the background that are totally awesome. Like I know me and Ryan mentioned before, but one of the coolest ones is that one. It's like the Koopa, the environmentalist, and he's holding a chainsaw. Like that's like that thing. It's like I want the most ginormous poster of that one of these days because that is so cool. But like the idea that like they kind of explain some of the politicalness there and so on. I don't know if they just kind of took that out. They're like, well, kids don't need to hear about politics.
Maybe.
I could see him just like, let's just speed this along. Probably
Yeah,
like
probably that is. But that line, I like that kind of bit. You know, they had some other ones along there too. One of the other ones kind of interesting, or I just thought it was an interesting take, but I know they're doing it from the script, is they changed the intro so it doesn't have that kind of cheap cartoon. And it's not saying that's bad, but like, you know, where it's got like the Brooklyn guy narrating it. Like, it just might be like... Just
one
like
time some fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah, like this plumber guy comes to class for show and tell, like almost like that scene in Billy Madison. You know, it's like, so let me tell you how the dinosaurs got here, kids.
Oh man.
Like, well, it was like they were using like some of that like public domain old educational
Lost World footage.
Oh, that was Lost World footage?
Yeah, not Lost World Jurassic Park, but
I know what you meant. I know it wasn't that one. Yeah.
I know, but so because I was looking like that's got to be the Lost World. I'm like, I haven't seen that in a while, but you know, and then I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is. So they kind of had that, and I don't think there's any narration in this version. They just literally go straight to like credits and so on. They're like, almost like you'll figure it out, which you kind of do because I was kind of looking for it along the way. Like there's that part explains it there, but you know, throughout some of the extra scenes and so on, it does kind of say all that stuff again. You know, so I could see where you could see where it could be kind of unnecessary.
It looked way better.
Yeah, because the animation, I will say, it is kind of cheap when you start the movie off. And I know what they're going for. They're kind of going, even though it's like a Nintendo game, but what it reminds me of is like those cutscenes you would see in like early PC games. Like that's how that always felt to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like that version better. I will say though, in regards to the cuts you were talking about, they cut some things because they were suggestive, like the mother suckers thing. I read in that description, and it's so true, and it hit me. And this is where a lot of the cuts, in my opinion, were. Not all of them, but some of them, is that this movie has an identity crisis, is what they were saying in the description. Is that, you know, it was clearly directed. They wanted it for teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed to be for teenagers, and then Disney was like, no, it's for 8-year-olds, probably. So that's where I think a lot of the stuff came in. They were trying to soften it for kids when it really wasn't meant to be for kids.
You know, and that kind of makes sense. I can kind of see why because they're going, one, here's the thing. All Mario's, you know, core fan base is growing up now. They're kind of pulling the Sega card almost with this movie. Yeah, I never really thought about it until I was kind of putting those together, but it's like, oh, they're going, okay, instead of being the kid-friendly console, we're going to be the edgy. We're going to be the more hardcore. We're going to be like the you know, the system that, you know, your mom doesn't want you to play. You know, and I felt like it sounds weird that it's, you know, it's coming from Nintendo in the Mario Brothers movie, but like that's almost how that movie sort of comes across. It's like, wait a second, it almost fits almost like into like a Sega propaganda, which technically once Nintendo did in 1994 with Play It Loud and everything like that, Nintendo just like, here Sega, we could do you 10 times better.
Well, there's also some of the things they took out, and this is one that's been on, like, I think the archive site, Mario Brothers Movie Archive, for a minute, was the one where they're dealing with the guy who, not Spicoli, but Scagnetti, whatever, I forget his name.
Well, now that you said it,
Scapelli.
Scapelli,
yeah.
Scapelli.
It's like now that you said it a bunch of times, it made it harder to remember what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Scapelli, when they go to you know, work in the dishwasher, and then yet they have the Scapelli guys there, and Mario says, "Oh, I knew him. I grew up with the guy. He's an asshole. You know, he just through subtle things. You're like, okay, this guy's obviously involved in organized crime or something to that effect." And then, so I think it kind of did a better job of making him more of just this bad guy, because he just rolled in for a minute just to threaten Daisy. Then he was out of there, and Mario's like, "Fucking Scapelli!" Well, that scene, even though he's not in it, it actually kind of enforces it more, and also kind of makes Mario and Luigi even more of underdogs. And even in some of those scenes, I think this cut gets across that Luigi is just Mario's apprentice. He's not a plumber. He may say the line, "He is, I'm just apprenticing," but I think this cut, just a few extra scenes they have, really get that across.
Yeah, it's those little things like that. Because even when they're at that restaurant scene, like the other thing I kind of like is because like there Mario's telling the restaurant owner, he's like, "Yo, these guys are overcharging you. This is a 2-hour job. You know, they've been here for like 2 days."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I guess you get it like just enough to kind of there, but like it kind of drives some of these like things home a little bit more, kind of fleshing out these characters just a tad bit, like
That should have stayed in.
Yeah.
In my opinion, there's just really no debate about it. I think that scene definitely should have stayed in the film. It just made everything better. I thought more clear.
There's even a small thing with Iggy and Spike when they're in the car. He's like, I look like I blend in. Look at me. What about you? You don't look like you're blending in. They're just like wearing like tags still attached to their like jackets and shit.
Yeah.
Kind of just a lot of small things like that just kind of stack up. I mean, overall, you can probably watch. You don't need to see this version for the first time or anything like that, obviously. But at the same time, there is a lot of small little interesting things that I think really add to it. Like there's even the part with the Brooklyn girls when they get to the. They kind of like each of them has a little bit more of their like personalities defined when we see Daisy first getting tossed into the bunkers, more or less. But no, that like a lot of that stuff, like there's the one lady who is like the dumbass who's just like, "Hey Mario!" It's like, why would you do that? But then like the scene where she's first introduced, you're like, okay, I can kind of see why that lady would do it,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense a little bit more. Things were just fleshed, just little nuanced extra things that they cut out. Did flesh things out just a little bit more, but like you said, a lot of it makes sense. Well, they got rid of it.
I think the biggest one, aside from like scenes, but just more in continuity. I think Spencer even said this, so he'll probably say when he gets back from the thing. There is when the end and they're all dancing and partying, and like this wasn't in the actual footage, but they added in there a score of the Mario Brothers theme, which apparently was in the script right there. That Spencer said, "Oh, you're back, cool."
I'm back.
Yeah, the part where the score came in at the end, they're all doing that kind of Ewok, that yum nub, you say yum nub, like that. Whenever I see like everyone partying and dancing, whenever they just killed the bad guy, I just can't help but think of the Ewok party scene in Return of the Jedi. But that scene really, that song, the Mario Brothers score, really made that scene, I thought.
No, I think that actually is one of the best takeaway parts of that film. Is just like you have the victory over King Koopa, and then it cuts to like a Mario orchestra version of the theme playing over it. Everybody's dancing. It's kind of, they add some other stuff in there too. I mean, you get Yoshi gets to be in there a little bit, even though it looks just like a lady's holding a puppet, kind of. And then there's even, and I kind of get why this one's kind of cut, but there's actually a first kiss of Luigi and Daisy actually takes place at that dance scene there than it does later on, like in the other one. I mean, it's probably more epic by having it like right when they're like, about to leave Worlds, to have the first kiss, I guess, there. But even it seemed kind of like it fit well also with the dance part too.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's a goodbye kiss. They're different things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is I feel like together it kind of still worked to have both of them there.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that, I think was kind of neat and so on. One of the other things too is it adds a lot more Dennis Hopper. There's a lot more Dennis Hopper scenes in this version too.
Even some repeated stuff.
Well, there's like when he's like, "Draw me a mud bath. I need to think. I need to contemplate." And so it just doesn't cut into that part. We actually see him in there just meditating, and then the evil aunt from Harry Potter comes joining in. Like, why can't I use the power rock?
Yeah, exactly. It's not your power rock now, is it? And then, I mean, also, even it adds that extended scene in the beginning where it shows more of Daisy's mom kind of delivering her and cuts those other scenes. You see Dennis Hopper come out of the shadows, like he's going to just, murder her, but he doesn't know where that child's been dropped off at. Chases her down, which I think that actually kind of makes it more haunting. And so, I mean, once again, some of that stuff, you could cut all these things that are kind of cut out. Like, it does still, like, other than some weird moments like the the ooze scene and so on where you question it later on, like it's not that it's like necessary to have it in there, but I do kind of like just that little extra touch sometimes makes a difference.
Dennis Hopper at the beginning of the movie where he's like chasing her through the rain and he does that like look at the camera thing, like it just feel like he's like off-brand Rutger Hauer from Blade Runner. It's like kind of what it felt like to me, but it still was awesome.
He corners Daisy's mom, like, I've seen things you people would not believe. Explosions off the side of Jupiter, you know.
Yeah. Just all kinds of stuff like that, but
Tears in the Rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tears in the Rain. That was the one. There is also, this isn't strictly, I just want to say this because I'm actually kind of like skimming through, just kind of reminding myself of certain things. This doesn't strictly apply to this cut, but I always thought of, it just popped in my mind. There's a whole thing that Goombas like to dance whatever music's playing, so if you just like slowly sway them back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't take a lot. How, like, you know, there are right off the bat already dancing to some kind of like, la, la, my love, that song, whatever. What happens if you start playing like choke me, spank me, pull my hair, just start playing that shit? They just start fucking right there.
You never know. They might just get into it. I feel
like Mario and Luigi, like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We didn't expect this.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna pull us right into it.
Or what happens if you just start like blasting some anthrax and they just start running around like a circle pit,
Just
punching each other?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not in Brooklyn, we're in Queens. The hell? Oh man.
Well, it's kind of like that. The other interesting part too is when they do like the when they have the whole club scene, because it's almost like the super extended cut of the club scene in this one. Like that part's almost like maybe not twice as long, but you know it's close to it. You know, and they have sort of some of the other songs that are like on the soundtrack kind of added in there, and they play out longer and whatnot. And even like I guess because you know they show more of the dancers up close and so on. Where it's like, I guess that's the one where Disney's like, no, none of that stuff there. Don't you dare show that.
Well, they have a stripper like in like dressed in dinosaur bones, and they literally hold on that. And I think Luigi even stops and says, "What the hell?" as they walk by.
Yeah, well, it almost reminds you. It's like a proto like From Dusk Till Dawn feel.
Okay. A little bit of heavy, like a live action heavy metal kind of.
Yeah.
I wonder what influence Disney itself actually had on the movie, because they're just distributed. I mean, this is just Point of Vista, so essentially, I mean, Disney also did Con Air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously they were fine distributing an R-rated movie. Well, that's a few years later still, but I wonder how much they actually had to do with this cut at this point in time.
Well, they had Son-in-Law this year, at 1993.
If I remember correctly, it was originally it was something else. I want to say while they were juggling directors or looking for a director, this and that, it got obtained by Disney. I want to say that there's Leitmotiv. Is that what the company's called? Leitmotiv? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to say they were already making the movie, and I want to say later it got obtained by Disney, by Hollywood Pictures, and from there, like a lot of the things are kind of going out the window. Like, wait, what? Like a lot of the movie was already apparently. I mean, I'm sure if the Mario Brothers Archive guys heard this, they could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the stuff I think was already underway when Disney came in, and then they said, "We don't like this. Change that." Like, and then that's where a lot of the struggles with the directors came from, I believe.
Yeah, the Hollywood Pictures might have came in a little bit like after things were kind of going and what have you.
Maybe at least before production, and that's where, because that's the thing. Because I want to say as early as the second draft, it kind of had a bit of a sci-fi tone. Because they have the big fantasy version of the draft that was a vastly different movie. And I want to say, even though it still had elements of that draft, there was the sci-fi version started in the second draft, and from there it just got more different and more different.
Yeah, just kind of keeps changing up and so on. But yeah, it's just like seeing these kind of extra stuff in there, all this kind of fun scenes and what have yous and whatnot, just to kind of change it up. And it's not like anything's in there is really so risque that it's not like one of those ones like, well, they took out that Mario and like Luigi like sex scene where they had to bang the hooker was the only way that they were going to get the bomb or something like that.
Why don't you gotta do it to get this bomb? Like, oh Jesus Christ!
Who wrote this? Stephen King?
Oh, it's that grandma from the beginning with the like the kind of cattle prod thing.
I realized watching it this time that the world that the Mario Brothers go to is essentially just alternate Hill Valley from Back to the Future 2. Yeah. It's like you run into the same characters almost.
Well, they're even like I mean, when you just see it, like, okay, there's a bunch of psychos down there acting all weird and mischievous. Like, only way you see people act like that is if they're like on meth or crocodile or some shit. You know what I mean? So, because they have a lot more because you see people like acting weird. Like there's the lady with the messed up face, and she's like somebody comes by, is like slapping the baby, the egg. It's like, get away from my baby, you know. And then but this one, they really hold on a few scenes of just people going, yeah, and like walking around like do your best raptor impersonation, you know?
Yeah, they got a lot more, I'm gonna say it, freaks in this one. There's like kind of like there, and they're holding on them. I mean, there's even that part like, and it feels like this was leading to something else, but even in this version it cuts. But like when Mario and Luigi go to like the jail, you know, and they go past, you know, like, you know, what's your guy's names? Mario, Luigi, Mario. And then there's this other guy that gets brought up right behind him, and it felt like that was gonna lead into some interesting scene, and then it cuts, and it's like, oh, I almost wanted to see where this guy was going, because this guy looked all raggedy and whatnot, and just looks like, what's his backstory?
It's Wario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even when with that one guy, there's the guy in the like cage next to him when they're in the jail, flicks the cigarette onto Mario. Mario Pat's like, what the hell? He looks at the guy, and the guy has like Exorcist face, more or less, with sharp teeth.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely more cigarette shots in this one, too, because even there's that one Brooklyn chick, like, captured there, and she offers, you know, one of the Koopa Troopa Gooba things, like a cigarette.
Like, he's no worse than my boss.
Yeah. That's okay. I'll bang him, and then we'll get out of here, girls. It's going to be okay. This happens every Tuesday.
Take one for the team. Oh, man.
I got a quick question. Now, it's not represented in either cut, but I'm kind of wondering this, because they throw Koopa into the de-evolve and try to make him go back, and it doesn't really work on him so much, but his eye kind of changes, and at some point he does the weird lizard tongue thing, when he's like basically trying to hit on Daisy.
Yeah, and the most kind of like the creepy rape scene almost. That's like
creep. Yeah.
If the cousins did it, even the cousins in this one, they even have a scene like, oh, were we ruining something here?
That makes more sense, because she just because it makes more sense that they come in. I mean, I guess has darker implications too, but at the same time, because originally she just like, ew, and then like he's all like, ew, he's like covering his face like, ew, she doesn't like me, take her away, yeah. Where in this, like the cousins coming in, it's almost kind of like, oh, our bad, were you trying to fuck her? Like, just get the fuck out, just go.
Yeah, just like one of those ones, just like totally, I guess, ruined the rape moment. You know, the creepy Dennis Hopper just like
man,
all hopped up on cocaine. Way to ruin
the vibe, man. Way to ruin the rape vibe there, yeah. No, I was gonna say, the other thing with that is something about. Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, because he has the whole thing with his face, and when he goes through the de-evolution chamber in this version, it holds on a minute longer, has a slow zoom in on his eye, and they cut to the eye doing the thing for a second. I haven't. The only draft I've read is the very first draft, so I'm wondering if there's another draft where sometimes he would switch in and out between being Dennis Hopper and Monster Bowser. Because if you look at a lot of the promotional work, there's that part right when he's getting like de-evolved, and he has this giant like, you know, monster-like grin, and he already looks half lizard. Like, you'd see, if you knew this was a Mario Bros., you're like, oh, that's got to be Bowser or Koopa or whoever. I'm wondering if, like, originally they were planning to have him, like, you know, go back and forth between that, kind of like a werewolf or something. Mm-hmm. But then they're just like, no, it's too expensive, and it's Dennis Hopper, so no, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? Because that thing pops up in a lot of promotional work. That particular image.
It's either that, or I could also see it like, you know, if it was kind of, you know, done at another time of, you know, more money for special effects and so on, is that as time went on, he became, it's like almost like by being put in that chamber, it's like he's slowly de-evolving as the movie's going on. And then technically by the very end, they'd be battling like Bowser as, you know, Bowser you would know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm just kind of wondering, because he just looks like a generic, you know, not a T-Rex exactly, but some weird thing popping out of that, like, container. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see that's where the budget went out, because originally they were going to have a big battle on the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, instead they kind of just went back there. And I mean, like, and I think for this movie and so on, it's like, it's not one of those ones that, like, you know, just in watching it, I feel like that battle still kind of works for, like, the level it's going at. It's not like you have this movie where you just have these huge, like, action set pieces, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, and by the way, well, at the very end, we're kind of just going to have this simple fight here in the corner and call it good, you know. But it would have been cool to see that.
Yeah. When I was a kid, one of the things I do remember being excited for the movie is I was expecting him to be more of a Koopa type thing at the end of the movie. Like I knew it wouldn't look like the video games because what does?
Yeah.
Even in the trailers, you're like, okay, this is an alternate take. But I was kind of expecting something like what's that? The mutant turtle from
From
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
the second one.
I forget what he's called, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think Spike maybe or something. I don't know, but either I don't know what it's called, but something like that is what I was kind of expecting Koopa to be towards the end of the movie, and like this big brooding beast and wrecking shit, and more formidable, I guess. But I'm fine with the way they did it. I actually saw more connections to the actual Koopa watching it this time around, not because of anything that was cut, but just watching it again. That last scene, it kind of connected for me that it's like the SNES version where he's in the helicopter thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That connected more for me this time. That I didn't really pay attention to that the first time watching it.
Well, and I think that's always a key thing with the Mario Brothers movie is that you have to watch it a handful of times to start getting all those little references in there. And I think also kind of like, just seeing, hey, there's the Bullet Bill, there's, the Shy Guys. There's all these little things they kind of got in there. There's even like at the end, I was kind of noticing even this time, it's like right when they leave Princess Daisy and they go back to their world and she's stand there, and it's almost like she has a very that feels like a very Super Mario World kind of picture. It's Daisy standing there with Yoshi and Toad. When you really kind of think about it, like that's very Mario right there. You know what I mean? Just those three standing there. I mean, it's the alternate movie versions, but there they are.
Yeah. No, there is and once again, I wasn't trying to bring it down like that fucking movie. I just you hear what they were originally planning, and then you see what they did. Like, they must have been like over budget by that point or something. But yeah, I just couldn't help but wonder, kind of like, because they did have a lot of emphasis on the whole like eye change thing after that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of things in this movie that just kind of like. They don't drastically change the movie, but they just add just a little bit more context where it could be where it's helped. The only thing that I'm like, good thing you took that out was the rap at the Boom Boom Bar. That was like the only big thing. Like, good call there.
Well, this is the time period where like it felt like, oh, we got to have that rap number in there. It's like Ninja Turtles had it with like go Ninja, go. I think of like Ghostbusters too, because that's always like one of the definitive like, hey, we need a rap song that like wraps up like what this whole movie's about, like during the credits.
On Our Own by Bobby Brown is the best of those, though. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
So it's like, I mean, like I will say like the nostalgicness of like, oh, they just have the goofy rap scene in there, like that, like. I feel like for the theatrical cut, that's great that that's taken out. But I will say when you kind of see it, though, it's like that takes you back. Even though that I've never seen that before till now, it's like that takes you know where you were, like right when you hear something like that, like, oh, it's early 90s.
Does put like a time frame on it, definitely.
Was there basketball in this?
No, there's not. Well, this might be
basketball.
I was gonna say this might be kind of before like you started having basketball, but then again, Hook has basketball in it, so no.
Yeah.
Well, this also could have been maybe there was like only just like one brand deal away from having the Nike symbol on the Thwomp shoes.
Yeah. Probably.
That would have been awesome, by the way.
And then
they threw the Dodge emblem on the Fantastic Four car in Rise of the Silver Surfer. So
I mean,
they could have called them Spikies.
Oh, what?
Called them Spikies.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That could have been a joke you had for the movie right there. Kind of like, oh yeah, we've got it's like the Nike emblem with covered in spikes or something like that, or like make it look like Spike from the video game, throwing the ball or whatever.
Now, how cool would it be if you could actually go out and buy those boots? You could just go walk around it. I mean, obviously they're not gonna have the jump feature, but like just to have like the boots and so on, and not like the goofy tie-ins like they do with some other stuff. Like it's kind of like. Those like when you were showing me those new Sonic the Hedgehog Puma shoes that you literally could not tell that was Sonic the Hedgehog on there. Like that, no. I want the full on. I want it to look like how the character in the movie or the game has it.
Well, if you pull the tag back, you can see the silhouette of Sonic's head. Like yeah, no.
If you pull the tag back, you see the copyright Sega 2020.
No, but like another thing in this film is like the adding context was when. I think Mario and Luigi's relationship's a little bit more better developed because you don't see them get mad at each other that much in the original cut, but this one when they're walking through the desert and like they have the whole like kind of slapsticky rock scene,
Oh, you mean the part where, like, it's like, every direction you tell me to go, like, oh, how about we just go this direction? Oh, look at that, you know what I mean? Like, Mommy, I want you to go down the tunnel. He's like, yeah, you wouldn't go in the fucking tunnel. Look where we're fucking at, Luigi. Where we're fucking at. I can't take my shirt off because that camera's rolling. I'm not like you, Luigi.
Did he disappear again?
Did you?
Oh, he's back. Cool.
He disappeared on us. But, yeah, it's just like one of those ones, like just those extra kind of moments. Well, that's the thing about this cut. It's like it's one of those ones, like a lot of it's just like little extra scenes, couple extra lines that like adds into a scene that's already existing. But like it does give it a fuller kind of take and everything like that. It's one of those ones like let's just say if luck could be had and you just could find all these scenes in like pristine order and so on, you could edit this back together and like a real like nice Blu-ray copy or something like that, and if it was all equaled out because it would but who knows, this movie's probably all just sitting in a warehouse somewhere like just cooking right now, but if you could just kind of have it like, and this was kind of put back together, like I feel like just having this fuller version of it, like, and it wasn't the rough cut I guess you're looking at, I think you could sell this pretty well and be like, hey, here's Mario Redux version, and people would probably be kind of into digging it still, I mean, right now it's the moment, it's like, it's filmmakers and fans only, but...
Well, there's we're 2 years away from the 30th anniversary. I'm just saying, Blu-ray, Steelbook kind of thing, alternate version. I could see that playing well.
Well,
I could see that working.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Was there anything else? Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no. That was it. I was just saying, I think it could... I think it could work. I think there's some marketability to a full extended cut of this, But now everybody's seen it for free that would really care about it. So I don't know.
I wouldn't mind having a better Blu-ray copy of, because all I have is the DVD, which is good enough. But I'd like to have like a nice remastered updated Blu-ray for it. That'd be cool. But at the same time though. You know what? Give anything enough time. It's like when the Thing first came out, it was like hated by critics and did bad at the box office. Now it's respected. I'm not saying this is the Thing. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like enough. What?
I hate to say it, I like it more than the Thing, and I love the Thing.
Ooh. I can't get on board with that one. I cannot. But
here's the thing: on a personal level, I like it more than the Thing. Is it better than the movie than the Thing? No.
Yeah.
I'm
with you on that one, but
it's science. It's science. Thing's a better movie, but at the same time, this I could honestly see like maybe down the line, just maybe like let's say the Mario Illumination movie comes out, it's gonna make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Whether it's great or it's dog shit, it's gonna make a bunch of money whenever it comes out. If it does spin off a series, I could see like maybe 2 or 3 movies in, maybe they start making jokes or references to this movie. Maybe in like hopefully in a loving manner, might be kind of fuck that movie. You know what I mean? But maybe a musical cue or something.
Yeah, hopefully it's not because I always hate when they do that where they like almost trash the ones that come before them. Like that's always kind of like, I mean, at least it's like they reference it, but it's kind of like it's almost like we have this goofy stepchild that we don't talk to and just leave in the basement, but you know what? We'll reference him once in a while that he's a fucking retard, and it's just like, oh, okay. Some of us actually like that guy.
But I tend to get with this kind of stuff, me, I get lost in what if, like just thinking big about it. Mm-hmm. I really think that with this film, and if they address it again in the future and Nintendo somehow decides to embrace it or for whatever reason, it would work great as a sequel to something. Like, okay, we established the Mario world, we give you the Mario world that you're looking for, the aesthetic, the feel that you're looking for, but part 2, we're going to go to this batshit crazy cyberpunk thing, and we're going to invite some elements into that, and then we can maybe get more than we would have got before, because I would love to play a Mario game set in this world. and really expand on it. A cyberpunk Mario, I mean, that'd be so awesome.
Well, it's just
Well, now you do see a lot of Mario fan art for this movie. Like you can see it's a combination of this movie's aesthetic with like Mario art style type of, so you see, kind of like Bowser more or less in the Dennis Hopper dictator suit. There's actually a someone made a coloring book adaptation retelling the Mario Brothers movie with like characteristics and the style of a Mario game. And they made it to being Mario and Peach rather than Daisy and Luigi. But you can tell what's going on still. Birdo was there instead of Big Bertha. There's the evil there's Koopa's girlfriend, I forgot her name, but she's basically the evil green bean lady, I think, from one of the Mario and Luigi games.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they are creative with it,
Well, and I think it is one of those ones, like, I mean, like, the other way I guess you could go, instead of doing it like the prequel style that you're saying, Wes, is that you could almost do it like, you have this movie, but then, like, as in a sense, like, if there's the Mario Brothers sequel movie, it actually keeps the cyberpunkness, but also goes more, Mario gameness at the same time, and kind of meets the happy medium even farther.
No, I think that there is, like you were saying, we talked about this on your show. I think it would be cool if they had a movie tie-in when this came out. I mean, it was probably so over the wall, all over the place, and changing so much. They probably look like, what fucking version are we making for the tie-in movie game? But I think it would have been cool to see, like, something like that for the Super Nintendo back when this came out,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
really cool.
That would have been interesting to have as well too. But I feel like there always is so much avenues you can go with it, and I know that, like, with the Super Mario Brothers archive, they started the one comic 10 years ago, and kind of got that one going, and then they've started this other one, and it's only like 6 pages into it, so it's like, a comic goes by super fast when it's only 6 pages. But it at least is like kind of promoting like what a sequel could be to having it there, and the artwork's looking great and so on like that. So there is stuff kind of coming out, and I do think that as time goes on, Mario is getting that turnaround. It's almost getting it kind of like how we talked about Last Action Hero and stuff before. Some people just didn't get it, back in the day, but the people that like grew up watching it and so on have kind of come out and said, hey, you know what? I love this. This was my jam. I'll tell you why it's cool, and it's kind of changing, things around. It's like Last Action Hero. It's like that's gone from probably being like probably one of the like Arnold's low-end movies to being one of his like top 5 in like a lot of countdowns.
Mm-hmm.
True, yeah.
I mean, video game movie-wise, it seems like, you either got to be into video game movies or, you're not. Like, it's kind of... That's how it sort of goes.
Well, in this particular... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Wes.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, there's that whole long-running, quote-unquote, video game movie curse that I feel like is just now starting to lift in the eyes of some people. But as far as this goes, regardless of what you think about it, it's definitely better than most early video game adaptations, or really most of them in general, not just early ones, just, with the exception of maybe the last couple, like Sonic was really good, and then the new Tomb Raider was really good. Other than those,
well,
this is,
I mean, like, I'll say, like,
the top.
Now, I'm one of those people who's really into the video game movies. Like, to me, like, I would say, like, I like 90% of them. There's only, like, a couple of them that are just kind of okay, But it's like, as far as the older ones go, I always feel Mortal Kombat's very strong. Tomb Raider is. Resident Evil, if you take it as a very, very alternative take on Resident Evil, they can be fun, But, I've just always enjoyed, even Street Fighter, I like that one a lot, too. It's like, that one I actually came more around to that as, like, with every watching we've kind of had in, like, the last, 20 years of that film and so on, that it's like, you know what, it's still, I mean, yeah, is it the most perfect Street Fighter thing? No, it's not like Street Fighter V or Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, definitely not that, but, for what we got, it's still fun, still got good action, and it still has all the characters pretty much, even if Ryu and Ken are kind of the side shoot characters, but whatever, sometimes just, if you sort of accept something for kind of what it is and be like, hey, you're not going to go back in time and armchair director your way into this, just take it for what it is. A lot of those things, and you're not trying to change it to like what perception you want it to be, then it'll actually be kind of fun. I mean, shit, I'm one of those people that likes Mortal Kombat 2. You know, and I know there's not a lot of people out there that like that one. I'm like, I like Mortal Kombat 2 than that new more than that new one. So I don't know what to tell you guys.
I'll say something about this movie too. Watching it again the second time, that I kind of touched on this when we reviewed it on Via VHS, but for all the, you know, turmoil that was written and talked about from this movie, all the bad things that they say happened, didn't happen. Obviously, there's different stories to everything, but despite everyone hating it so much, that does not show on the screen.
No.
At all to me. It looks like Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo and everybody else is kind of having fun. Dennis Hopper kills it. He apparently hated it more than anybody.
Yeah, and he owns that movie like nobody's business.
Yes. So that is one great, to me, the biggest achievement of this film is that with all the things going on outside of it, that does not show up on the screen at all.
Yeah, let's just play. I think they all like just play off each other very well. I mean,
yes.
Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, I think they just have that perfect old guy, young guy dynamic. You know, like I can see maybe they're not brothers in the movie. They kind of even say they're not really brothers, but at the same time, that idea of
they're brothers.
They kind of say Mario adopted me. Actually, did he say he was
because their parents or what? Something happened to Mario and Luigi's parents. You know, they were taken away. You know, and that's what Super Mario World 2 is.
He said like Mario. Maybe he did. I'm trying to remember. He says
it like because Mario. He was my mother. He was my father. He was my uncle. He raised me. It's more just saying that Mario. When the parents
looked out for him.
Whatever happened, Mario, took over the role of 10 or 12.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, we're gonna raise you up right. We're gonna become lovers just like the family tradition.
Look what I found in fucking Central Park, Ma. It's a scrawny little kid. I don't know what it's gonna do, but I'm gonna train it to work a fucking wrench. Like, all right, Mario, do whatever you gotta do. Like, I'll get the family business going. Just you wait and fucking see. Okay, it's great.
He's this little Latin boy I found, and I'm gonna turn him Italian.
Cook up the spaghetti, Ma.
Son, you're British. Why do you keep talking like that?
Godfather Marathon. And Scorsese.
But no, I think that is really at the end of the day, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, I feel all three of those guys kill it more than anything else. Like that, it's like one of those ones if you just had them come over and be like, hey, we're just going to do Mario 64, but we want you guys to dub in the voices for all the characters, I'd be like, yeah, that makes total sense. I'm so sold on that. Or let's just say we're having a new cartoon show and these guys were going to do the voices for it. Yeah, I'm there.
Well, I'll even say, this may sound blasphemous. I know I've said this on different podcasts before. I don't know if we said it on Via VHS, but I actually prefer rough and gruff Mario as opposed to, it's me, Mario. I prefer, this Bob Hoskins. It's kind of similar to the cartoon.
I agree.
Yeah, the cartoon, he's kind of he has the, oh, we gotta go save the princess again, Luigi, where I kind of prefer that more than just the, Italian Mickey Mouse voice that he has.
Well, because that's where I seen how it was, because even Lou Albano and everything like that, he had the rough Mario kind of feeling, and then it was all of a sudden it was Mario 64 came, and it's okay, we got to get rid of this rough Brooklyn kind of Mario. We need to make him seem more fun, and yeah, Mickey Mouse Mario is almost the best way to sort of say it.
I never pieced together that Mario was Captain Lou.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It's dude, it's got Captain Lou as Mario. Isn't that the coolest thing ever in the Super Mario Super Show?
Y'all can say whatever you want about this movie, and this movie is good. I actually legitimately like this movie, but the Super Show was that's my jam. I'm all about the Super Show.
The Super Show is one of those ones you could kind of cut the cartoon part out, because the cartoon's it's kind of like one of those 80s let's just throw this together for kids are fucking stupid cartoons, but the live action scenes in the Super Mario Super Show, those things, it's literally the Mario Brothers sitcom. I love those so much, and they always have the special guests on there and whatnot. They got Cyndi Lauper and everything. It's so much fun.
It really is. And a better theme song.
I remember liking the live action segments, but I don't remember any of the bits from it. But I could just see there being some kind of Mario Brothers, the rent is due, and Mario's just grabbing like a wrench, like, all right, come and get it, motherfucker, come in the fucking house and get it. Like, I can totally see that just like in the slums of Brooklyn, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Some kind of like Scorsese's Mean Streets type of thing going on.
But it's got a laugh track in the background still.
Rent control! Fucking say it! Rent control, asshole!
Luigi would be like Robert De Niro in that, being like, you just gotta pay this guy off. That's all we're asking you this whole movie is to pay this guy off, but you're just being an ass about it, and that's why he's gonna kill you.
Oh, like Mario, like Luigi is Harvey Keitel and Mario is Robert De Niro.
I said the other way around.
Robert De Niro's the Robert De Niro's the one.
Luigi's
who's
Robert
being
De Niro,
gaslit.
and then Mario's Harvey Keitel, because Harvey Keitel got it together, and then Robert De Niro's just fucking around the whole movie, and then it's like, when he gets shot, it's just, I always picture like Harvey Keitel just being like, see, I told you you're gonna fucking get killed. Should've fucking listened to me.
Now I can only picture, holy shit, Joe Pesci and De Niro as Mario and Luigi. That would be
Luigi,
where it's at.
I saw you dropping fucking bombs in mailboxes the other day. I know you act scared every time you go in that mansion, but I know you're playing it. I know you're playing because I saw you spit in Nice Guys Eddie. Wait, no, fucking Nice Guy. I'm mixing my fucking movies now. Nice Guy Eddie. Yeah. Why not? Fucking like Chris Penn. I saw you spit in Chris Penn's eye the other day.
Oh man, dear Lord, baby Jesus.
No, yeah, but yeah, anything of that kind of old school, like the way that they almost interpreted Mario back in the day, I like that more. Maybe that's just nostalgia, but it's like that to me always feels like that's the most Mario. And don't get me wrong, I like all like the newer Marios and a little bit more happier Mario and so on. But I like hard working blue collar Mario.
Yeah, I do too. Gritty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of just grizzled, and he's seen some shit. But it's not too much. It's not. They don't go too far with it.
No, yeah, it's like that thing where like you keep it kind of like gritty and a little dark, but it's still at the end of the day, it's like PG-13. It's not like you've gone into R or anything like that. But I don't know. It's something that like it seems like after the Super Mario Brothers movie, it's like they wanted to stay kind of as far away from Mario being kind of like dark and a little bit serious. I mean, like one of the only other things that gets kind of close, it's around that same time period, is Super Mario RPG, but then again, that's made by Final Fantasy Company, so that's because that's almost like the most serious Mario game I guess you can kind of say you have, even though it's still funny. But
yeah, that's actually a good point. Well, that's probably also the Mario game with the most story up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, like it's the Mario movie in Mario RPG.
Trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess well, it's kind of weird to me because Wes, you said that they had identity crisis because they wanted to make it for teenagers, but the studio wanted to make it for 8-year-olds. But I remember being like, this wasn't the first movie I saw, but it was like one of the first movies I saw in theaters. It was like I was in kindergarten when I saw this thing, so it's already kind of like it already had me at that age. So I would have probably been okay with PG-13 Mario if it went on like that at the time. It just had Mario on the title. Like, all right, let's go check it out. I remember used to wanting to watch racing, like Formula 51 racing, because there's a racer named Mario Andretti. I'm like, well, it's the closest thing I get to Mario Kart, so here we go.
I remember because whenever I think of Mario Andretti, that would always be when, like, back in the day, and you'd be, like, searching on the internet in the 90s, and you'd type Mario in, and that guy would always come up first. I'm like, dude, no, not that Mario. I want the real Mario.
Well, God, that guy, Mario Andretti has to hate that.
Oh, he probably does, too, because, he's like, yeah, people get pissed. They'll be typing in eBay looking for Mario games. My Mario Andretti Formula 1 game on Sega Genesis comes up.
The one Mario game on Genesis.
Yeah, that's like the one Mario game on Genesis. I wish that was the tagline on the poster.
Mario on Genesis. It's me, Mario.
No carts
Really.
needed.
That's totally like that game, because I think that game's almost like a very early days Genesis game. But if that would have came out during like just like Attitude Era Genesis, I feel like that might have had a poster like that.
Oh, 100%. I could definitely see that. Mario on Genesis. But real quick saying about that identity crisis, I'm not saying that was an issue. I'm saying the studio thought that was an issue. I mean, we were just talking the other day. I can't remember which episode we were talking about this on, Spencer, but we were talking about how Terminator 2 was an R-rated movie with action figures. Clearly, parents did not give a shit in the 90s. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's like,
You know.
there's a Rambo cartoon in the late 80s. Like, well, even like, okay, I'll think about this. Okay, Mario comes out in 1993. Well, that's going against like Jurassic Park, which Jurassic Park is really like a rated R movie that's just pulled back to PG-13. Let's be honest, that's pretty much what that is. The books are rated R.
barely.
You know, you also got Last Action Hero, which is another one that could have been a rated R, but it's pulled back to PG-13 as well too. But it's still kind of, you know, you take out the blood and guts, and you still got yourself the same content at the end of the day. You know, it's just like you've just removed the swearing, the blood and guts, and like a shot of titties at some point. But it's like that, you know, that random shot in Jurassic Park where like someone kicks open the door and there's just two people like making love there. It's just like, oh, whoops, wrong room. Dr. Arnold. Don't you know the power's out here?
What if I had like the same kind of introduction that like George Clooney had like in Three Kings? Like he's just fucking some reporter in the fucking tent or
Mr.
something
Ham.
like. Mr. Grant, what? Like we already lost funding. What's the fucking point?
Mr. Hammond, tell me about your flea circus.
Kind of busy at the moment, but Grant, we need you on the team.
They're birds, I tell you, they're birds.
You know, so, but like, you know, it's one of those ones that's like, and I know that there's always been that kind of battle between like, oh, should we keep it kind of kiddie or should we kind of go adult? And I think that the upside to kind of like the age that we're finally at now is I've just kind of realized that like, you just kind of look around, I think just because we've rolled over a couple of generations and it's just got the point that like, we're at the age where it's like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's like one of those ones that's like, you just see sort of like, it's like, parents don't care what their kid listens to anymore. Like shit, their stuff that they listened to in the 80s and 90s is more hardcore than like the stuff they have going on right now anyways. So it's like one of those ones like it's almost toned itself down. And then I think it's kind of like the same thing of like movies and so on. It's just like one of those like, Billy's old enough, he can watch radar movies, play mature rated video games. You know what I mean? And music doesn't even need to have a parental advisory on it anymore because those parents are dead. Or in a senior home or something right now, you know what I mean? Complaining about
shit, Tipper Gore.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just getting to that point. I'm like, really, you give it about another like 10 more years, and I think that stuff's gonna be out of the way. Like, it'll be like to that point where like you'll be a bad parent if you don't take your kid to a radar movie. In that sense.
Mom, I really want to see Hostel 9. Like, well, on top of that, I also feel like this also came at a time when parents just didn't really. How do I put, not parents, but like studios, like this is for the kids. It's gonna be made for the kids, and then it's gonna be forgotten about in 2 years. So let's try and cash in on this thing as soon as possible. Not realizing, oh, this stuff has longevity, and people actually still kind of like. People in their 30s still like Mario games as long as they're well made. People still like Sonic games as long as they're well made. You know, which is not always the case, unfortunately. But you get what I mean.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I think that's the thing is so much stuff was kind of like that 80s mentality, like, hey, we just need it for our kids for a couple years, sell some toys, and, you know, get out of here, like, making gangbusters on it. That's it. That's all that matters. You know, it's like, I still think one of my favorite ones always is that special features of Transformers where there's that one guy at, like, Hasbro who's talking there. He's like, yeah, we killed off, you know, Optimus Prime, like, was it a big fucking deal? We had a new line of toys coming out, and we needed to get rid of the old ones. Like, so what if some fucking little bitch cried during the movie? Grow the fuck up.
You get a new toy now, aren't you happy?
Yeah.
You get Rodimus Prime or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, like that guy, I just love how like blunt that guy is. Like I didn't get it. Like, what the fuck's this bitch babbling about? You know, it's a fucking robot. That's a cartoon that somebody drew.
It doesn't know you.
Yeah, he ain't your father. He ain't your friend. Just give me, you know, the money you got in your pocket and you get out of here.
Well, I even like in this David Razzie of Technical Dave has told us this. I thought it was interesting because that movie, it's PG, but the only reason it's PG is because they said like they had a few swears,
They say, like,
and the
shit,
reason
like,
why
3
they
times,
said
'cause
why
everyone
they
knows
had
it's a
him
big
say
deal.
there's like, oh shit, they have like say that once or twice in the movie. The only reason they did that is because, well, if it's PG, that means a parent has to take them. So when a kid says, oh, I want Optimus, or I want Megatron, or whatever. The parent knows what they're talking about.
You know, and that's kind of weird because like.
So that is.
I wonder.
So not only are we gonna kill them all we're gonna kill your heroes on screen, so your parents to buy you new toys. We're gonna make it so they have to pay for a fucking ticket too. So yeah.
Well, that's weird because I almost want to say that like. That must have been maybe only in the 80s that like that kind of was the case because, you know, in the 90s you could, I mean, I guess if it was PG-13 you couldn't go in until you were 13 years old technically, but I didn't think that PG, like, cause it's just parental guidance, or it's not necessarily like, hey, you, it's not like it's like NC PG, you know what I mean? Like no children under PG, like what's PG? Like I don't know, but a parent's gotta be in that.
Wasn't I
mean, like, it'd be interesting. This is like a test. I mean, I know it probably wouldn't work now, but I would love to be able to, like, this sounds just kind of weird. Like, okay, just get a bunch of kids. Okay, kids of different age ranges. Go try to buy a ticket at that movie theater. See if they let you in. Okay, they didn't allow the 5-year-old in. Okay, send the 6-year-old. Okay, they didn't allow the 6-year-old. Send the 8-year-old. Well, they let the 8-year-old in. I wonder why that was. Or, he had a fake mustache on. Well, why do you have a fake mustache on?
Yeah, those Groucho Marx glasses, yeah.
Yeah, well, that gets you into anything. Oh, you bought a ticket to the NC-17 movie?
Well, he's already in there now.
He's gonna come out with a real mustache.
Oh, man.
Have chest hair and everything. It's a woman. Gonna have chest hair and everything.
Damn. Y'all are deranged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how
we're not going to argue it. I'm just like, yeah, okay. No defense.
It's like, what's your science like test or whatever? Well, we captured a bunch of children and told them to go buy tickets to the movie theater. We just wanted to see how low you had to be to like ride the PG ride. Like, what's the lowest age range you can go in with that? But I don't know. It's weird. That just made that. Now I'm just like. Because nowadays, like you almost never see PG. PG is like the most like underused like rating.
It's taboo almost.
Because it's almost that thing. Because I think people kind of go like, you got G movies because you're like, hey, I just want to have a straight up kids movie, whatever like that. And even G like doesn't have the same meaning as it used to. Because nowadays G mostly means, hey, it's gonna be a stupid kids movie. Anybody over 10 years old is not gonna get it. That's generally what G is anymore. And then it's like, and then you get, unless I guess it's like a Disney movie or a Pixar, but then you get to like PG, and PG is almost like, well, it's a little bit
Someone
more,
says damn.
But it's one of those ones, we're probably going to lose all the adults because they're not going to want to go to it because they're going to go, it's PG. If it's not PG-13, it's not made for the whole family, so I'm not there.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a Pixar movie or something like that, or,
Yeah.
It never made sense because wasn't Red Dawn the first PG-13 movie, which is hilarious. It's literally one of the most violent movie.
No, yeah, that movie probably would have been R, but PG-13 just came out.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think because I might be remembering this wrong, but I think people got really mad at Temple of Doom.
Because monkey brains and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, because so they said we need to make a new rating in the middle because this is troubling to kids. And I think maybe Red Dawn was somehow the first PG-13 movie, which is definitely an R-rated movie.
Well, because that's the thing was there's all those PG movies at about like the late 70s, early 80s that are like pretty much rated R, but they're like, well, I guess it's not really rated R. I mean, yeah, it's got some tits in it, and yeah, there's some swearing and some violence. A guy gets his head chopped up. Yeah, I mean, is that really R? Like,
They open up and like they parachute down. Russians parachute down and unload on a school. You see one dead kid hanging out a window. Yeah, same thing as the newest Star Wars.
Well, and I feel Red Dawn probably skated that by being like, well, it's a patriotic movie. Because for some reason, if there's a little bit of patriotism in there, it's like,
yes.
we can kind of get away. The kids need to see this. They need to be prepared.
Dude, that movie is
it's like the Passion of the Christ for the 80s.
Jesus in America.
It's like all the gun clubs are like, okay, we got to take our kids out to go see it. Billy, you're coming out of school. You got to see Red Dawn. You like the Conan the Barbarian, right? Well, it's the same guy.
Do you see there's a Rocky IV director's cut coming out?
Yeah, I know. I've been watching Stallone put that together for like the last 6 months or whatever. Like, he's just be like, hey, it's me, Stallone here, and right now I'm working on Rocky IV director's cut. Look at me, I'm mixing sound right now. Ooh, yeah, it's pretty cool, huh? Okay, well, get your wallets ready.
I just, when you say woo, like, I just like to imagine, like, he's, like, turning knobs up and down. The sound guy just stops, like, don't do that. And he's like, the fuck you say to me? Just looks at him all serious and stern. He's, like, backs away.
You gonna say something to me, huh?
You don't want to fuck up with the levels, because you just fucked up your whole job. You just fucked up your life. Go outside. We'll talk in a minute. Anyway, turns back to the camera.
Yeah, it just, like, doesn't cut. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. I mean, the only downfall about that version is it sounds like they're going to cut the robot out, but, so we don't get Polly fucking the robot in this version, which is what I was kind of hoping it was going towards, but...
Maybe in time we'll get there.
We'll be like, we cut out all the scenes except for this one, like, very grotesque version of Polly fucking the robot. And the and the sun walks in on it.
What'd you program it to do?
I think I talked over y'all at one point. I'm sorry. I thought Spencer cut out, but it was just me that cut out because my headphones stopped for some reason.
Oh, it's all good. I don't know if we heard. We may have just been Stalloning over each other just now. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
That sounds wrong. But you know what I mean?
Just be, hey, we're Stalloning over each other here. Well, yeah, this guy, the guy here who's doing the sound, was not gonna have his fucking job. It's like, oh no, he's getting angry. He's gonna get all Rambo too, to rip his shirt off, and shoot a bow and arrow at me. But no, you know what? Going back to Mario Brothers, the movie, the extended cut, and all these sort of things, it's like, these are always the things that I want to see more of. Because I don't know how many times, whether it be on Old Man Orange or on Via VHS, we talk about a movie, go back in time with it, and then you read some, like, tidbits of being like, oh, yeah, there's this, the original cut was, 2.5 hours instead of 2, or, whatever it is. Or some of them are like, it was 6 hours long, and, Francis Ford Coppola was yelling at the top of his lungs that he wasn't going to cut anything, and then he cut it down to 2 hours and 20 minutes. And you're like, whoa, I want to see that. Where's that 6 hour long cut? That just sounds ridiculous. Like, why was he so, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I just wish that, like, I feel like as a movie company, there's this huge market, and I know it's kind of dipping away because, it felt like, in the 2000s, we had that glorious period of, like, special editions, extended cuts, like, whatever else extra they had in, like, the warehouse, they're like, slap that on there, people will buy the shit out of it. And then it got to, like, 2010s, and they're like, oh, shit, most people that buy this never even watch the second disc, Like, that's just a waste of our money now. Let's get rid of all those bonus features and just give them, like, the bare bones one. They don't know the difference. They're stupid. And so we kind of lost out on that, but that to me is always like one of the coolest things about a movie. It's like, I don't know how many times I've bought films that's like, it's got like 45 seconds more of violence in it. I'm buying it. You know what I mean? I don't care. That's literally like the Commando director's cut. It like has, it's got a little bit more. It's got maybe like 2 minutes in total, but like it was sold, it's like 45 seconds extra violence. I'm like, I'm there. I don't care what it is. Like, a couple more blood splats, a couple more, shots to the head, whatnot. It's cool for me.
Not to lead us on a completely different tangent, but I wonder if that kind of went away with, like, because after American Pie, the unrated version, they started having a bunch of the unrated versions of every movie that came out, and they just add in, like, oh, there is, like, one guy got shot in the background, and there is, like, they said fuck once or twice, like, that's all they really added to it. There's really nothing that much more, unless it was like a big direct. I remember the Underworld one was like actually 20 minutes longer, but it really, that was a case like, I didn't need that.
Well, that was the downfall, is because like the American Pies, they did that, like, sort of, I guess you had said, like, uncut, extended. It's kind of weird to think of it, because that's really, like, at the end of the day, it's almost like the American Pie director's cut, but instead they were sounding like unrated. But like that one did it good, but that was the thing, is I think too many other companies like kind of jacked that up for everybody else, because that was the thing, is you slapped that unrated label on there. It was like two reasons why you wanted to do that. One, people are like, well, shit, I saw it in theaters, but I didn't see the unrated version, so I gotta buy it now. And by having the unrated one on there, when you go through Walmart and they scan it, it doesn't go off as a rated R movie, so like little Billy can go in there and now buy American Pie 2 and walk on out.
And I also feel like it was, whatchamacallit.
So I felt like it was probably, the MPAA was like, whoa, you guys can't just all call your movies unrated and have little Billy walking around school carrying around his American Pie VHS.
Even though it's not nearly as violent or sexual as other movies, when Charlie's Angels Full Throttle has the unrated version, it's time to call it quits.
Well, that was like
kind
I felt like they knew what they were doing. They were that was like such a marketing ploy because I think everybody was like, shit, it's gonna be like American Pie. That's what it's gonna be like in this version. I just fucking know it, and everybody gets it's like, oh.
You mean Bernie Mac doesn't fuck all three of them? Oh shit.
Yeah, like that's what I thought we were leading to in this thing, and then it just wasn't there. Just be like Super Mario Brothers the movie, uncut and unrated.
Wait to see how Yoshi uses that tongue.
There's that YouTube video like racist Mario. Have you seen it?
Yeah, the Flash Kids one.
Oh my gosh!
What are you non-Nintendo characters doing in my game? You race traitors!
Man, it's hilarious.
Just getting all hardcore there.
he's like,
well, it's not
Mario
racist
takes
in that
racing
sense.
Mario takes racing too seriously. Pans over to Peach with a black eye. He takes everything too seriously. My only problem with that, and maybe they're just more fans of this game, but like Kratos is the one to like kill him. Just like fucking over Kratos. Fuck Kratos, you know?
Yeah. Kratos. I mean, I know we're getting kind of off topic, but it's kind of on topic. That was just like. I think that's what always kept me away from the God of War games. I'm not saying that they're not good, but it's just the Kratos fans were always kind of like, oh, it's those guys. It was almost like Kratos appealed to like the guy showing up on his motorcycle, constantly revving it, just going, yo, babe, babe, babe.
Blaring the Scorpion King soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, it's like the douchebag guy, just like they're just like, you know, that's almost like who it felt like it was made for. And it's not saying there's anything wrong with the God of War games because they are fun, but like I just kind of felt like when I saw that, it's like, yeah, I'm not playing your game. I got Ninja Gaiden. I don't need you. So there was always that kind of like, and it's like even in those videos, like that's literally how Kratos plays out in that video, and it's just like it's that guy again showing up, being loud and obnoxious. Yeah. But
no, that video is awesome though. The Flash Gets is usually pretty funny.
But yeah, I guess we go on for days on all this stuff before someone's like, Jesus Christ, you talked about Mario for 40 minutes and then just went off on the fucking rails forever on a.
That's what it usually goes. Yeah, it's usually the main topic for 30 minutes to an hour, then off the rails. Way it goes.
But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it all revolves around extended cuts and you know things like that, and wanted to see more of that and. This almost kind of gives that idea that maybe, you know, hey, putting together the Super Mario cut like this, you know, kind of this rough cut, putting the scenes back in, making them fit, you know, editing the sound together and whatnot, going off the original script of kind of what it is and having those moments. It would be neat that more movies might go like, hey, you know what? I got this VHS sitting at my house of this old, you know, 80s or 90s movie. It has an extra 15 or 20 minutes in there. Let's put it together, you know? Because, you know, you read that so many times that there's, like, movies and it's just like, oh, you know, there's this extra, you know, roll of film sitting at the director's house, you know, of all these cool scenes. And it's like, it doesn't have to technically, once again, take over, like, the original cut. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, the theatrical cut, there's a reason why it is, and that is the definitive version. But it's not that it's not cool seeing an alternative version. Or, you know, it's like, I'm just going to say it's because you brought up American Pie. This just kind of makes me think of it. I want to say it's one of those like, you know, off-brand spin-off American Pie movies that came off, you know, like number 6 or something like that. Like I want to say it's The Naked Mile. And this sounds so weird, but like I remember on the special features of that film, it had so many deleted scenes that there was literally like almost like a second movie in there. And it was just kind of like, dude, you should just put this together and just have this. It sounds so weird to have this straight to DVD movie, but like you literally got like a 3-hour long cut. Why not just have it just for, you know, a bonus feature? I mean, you know what I mean? Especially this day and age. I feel like editing a movie, I'm not saying it doesn't take time, but it's not like it's, you know, you could literally just have one guy kind of work on it in the background and next thing you know, boom, you got it put together.
Well, I'll just say this real quick. It's not really an extended cut, but just to kind of build off that, the Army of the Dead movie that came out, I wasn't crazy about it. I'm not really crazy about anything Zack Snyder does since, you know, a really long time. But they had a making of on Netflix.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. So that's kind of like they're getting there to the digital versions.
Yeah, so hopefully that's something that continues. More, you know, extra scenes, more, you know, director's cuts, more. I mean, we just got the Snyder cut too, which, you know, there's that thing, a whole nother story. but I might not like that movie either cut, but I'm very happy that it exists.
Yeah.
You know, and that maybe more things. Hell, maybe we get extended cuts of the prequels or different things like that or whatever. You know, maybe a version of The Last Jedi that makes it better.
Yeah.
Which, something.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, well, because you mentioned Star Wars. I know we're just kind of going on tangent, but like I remember when Star Wars Episode 1 came out on DVD. Maybe it's just as a kid I misread that, but I remember like thinking that like, okay, it came out on VHS and that was the theatrical version, and maybe they were just selling it because this was when DVD was new, but like I thought that was supposed to be like they're gonna put all those deleted scenes actually in there and have the extended cut on it when you watch the movie. And I remember like sitting over at like I think it was Cisco's house somewhere watching it on DVD because he was the only person who had like a DVD player at that moment, and it was just like, where's all those extra scenes they were talking about? Like I thought they were advertising. It's like, you just gotta watch on the side. Well, that's not nearly as cool. It's like one of those ones like I don't know what it is, like deleted scenes. Like if you watch them just kind of like as like a side dish, they're cool. It's like, oh, that's neat and so on. But it makes such a big difference if you can just incorporate them into the movie. And they can be rough cutted in. I'm not that picky. Like I think the people that are going after like these kind of like extra cuts, like. You know what I mean? The movie doesn't have to be smooth. It can be okay if there's a black frame here or the colors didn't match or what have you.
Yeah.
I know the movie company's like, whoa. So don't you tell those editors that it needs to be as smooth as can be. 20th Century Fox isn't just putting out anything.
That's true. I'll say, though, keep it on Super Mario Brothers. My last thing I'll say is if all you got in this version, which you get way more than this, was the de-evolution scene that makes it make more sense, and then the music at the end, which was to me the best part.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like such a silly thing, like, oh, it was fan service. No, the music was good. Had this almost calypso sound to the Super Mario Brothers theme, just a slight calypso tone to it. It sounded good, but it just added so much to that last scene, and then you even get you get that last little jingle too. So
yeah,
I thought that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that part fits so good. It almost sounds like it would just be kind of like copy pasted in there, but like it mixes in like that should have been there the whole time. And it's just
absolutely, it should have been there.
That orchestra version of it and everything like that, and just the dance party. You got Yoshi there, like. That whole part, to me, like, really made it more than almost anything else.
There is a song playing in the background of that I'm kind of curious. I want to look up and see, like, if they have it without the orchestral Mario theme, just to hear what song it is they're playing in the background. I mean, regardless, the Mario theme probably makes it better. But to answer your question, Wes, I would definitely take the end with the Mario orchestral theme as opposed to the de-evolution scene. Just because even without the de-evolution scene, it's like, oh, I guess Toad just took a big shit there as he was taking a step off the chair. So that makes it kind of funnier.
Yeah, I will say that is kind of true, but it does like that scene just to explain that mystery there the whole time. But no, this is something one of those ones where like if you're anything of the Super Mario Brothers movie fan and whatnot, I feel like it's a total must watch. Obviously, as I said before a couple times on here, if this is your first time watching the Mario Brothers movie, I feel like, unless you were just really into filmmaking, then I feel like you could watch this and kind of understand it. But it definitely adds to it. It makes for like almost like the best kind of bonus features you can sort of have and whatnot. But we'll put a link because you can watch it. It's on the Super Mario Brothers archive. They have it there on their what's that site? The
Archive.org.
Yeah, archive.org. It's on there, so that always feels like the site that like you can put copyrighted stuff, and for some reason it's like safely protected. It's like it's like the church almost. It's like if you go in there and just yell sanctuary at the top of your lungs, you get kind of protected by being in there. For some reason, the archive.org has that same thing too. Be like, it's history, damn it! And it's like, the lawyers are getting all like nervous and antsy, but like, they put it together, and but somehow we got to get money out of them.
Like when
Song of the South is on there.
Yeah, because it's like they won't because it's history, so you can lock it up. You can lock it up on the archive.org.
I think it somehow is linked to. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I apologize. I think it is somehow linked to the Library of Congress in some way. Archive.org.
Yeah, but some of our stuff's literally on there. That's like the weirdest part.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's like the thing is, I love how you can like upload like almost anything to the archive.com. So it's like you just get people's like goofy like, I mean, shit, people upload their podcasts there, which kind of throws off your search engine, but.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look through this. I just went straight to the Mario movie and then just bounced on. I'm going to look around and see what else is on there.
That site, that's where I found, like, when we did that Star Fox comics, I found that on there, some of the Nintendo Power stuff that you, like, from the magazines that you just couldn't find anywhere else. They got a lot of good, like, backlogs where people copy magazines and kind of put them up there, so if you need to go, like, I need to look for a magazine of, you know, July 15th, 1994, you could kind of find it. So it's cool for that stuff. Even like, yeah, like kind of like missing software if you kind of are looking for something kind of old or whatnot that you just can't seem to find anywhere, and obviously it's not for sale anymore and whatnot. It does hold that well. But as I said, I'll put the link for the Mario Brothers one in there. I made sure I downloaded it because you just don't trust it. Like, you know, at any moment Nintendo or Disney could come shut that down really fast. So I'm like downloading it, multiple copies on my computers. Got it on my flash drive so I could watch it on my TV. I'm set and ready to rock and roll with it.
Only a matter of time right before Disney comes in. Disney, or actually more likely Nintendo. Disney's like, we never made money off it. We're not going to make money off it. Get the fuck out of here. Where Nintendo's like, they can never know. They treat it kind of like how George Lucas treated the Christmas special.
Yeah, well, and I think the average person doesn't realize that like that's all connected to Disney. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like Disney's kind of just in the background to like take money off the top of all those companies.
But I bet Disney even forgets, like, oh shit, we own that, don't we?
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, it's one of the other ones at the bottom of the stack. But I guess I know Wes kind of said his final thoughts and everything on there. Ryan, what's your final thoughts on the flick? The extended version?
Just, you know, if you're a big fan of the Mario movie, check it out because it is just cool to see these alternate takes and added scenes. It doesn't change the movie drastically, but it's just, you know, after all these years, it's cool to know that there's still stuff being uncovered about this movie. You know, it's kind of like when Jimi Hendrix or Tupac, like how many fucking things do they record? They're still coming out with shit, you know. So it's kind of interesting.
I just want to say, I feel like Jimmy has more albums after he died.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of feeling that way with like deleted scenes of this Mario movie because like more and more stuff just keeps on coming out about it. So yeah, I'm gonna say definitely check it out if you're a fan of the Mario Brothers movie. So yeah,
it's definitely one of those ones you just kind of you want to kind of give it a go and kind of like, you know, I feel the more people that kind of check this out, as I said, I hope it like spreads into other movies and so on, and like maybe there's an extended cut of all these like, you know, scenes for Double Dragon. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna make it too much more. I'm assuming they're not gonna be like, oh yeah, we had this like, you know, professional martial arts guys all come in and we just cut all their stuff out. I don't think it's gonna be that, but you never know what you might find in there and so on. So yeah, it's definitely cool. Check it out. It's just a fun way to watch it. And that guy, Garrett Gilchrist, good thing he sat down and put all the effort into putting these all back together and chopping it and putting in like strapping his boots on and putting the hard work in of editing. You know what I mean?
Rolling up his sleeves.
I understand as an editor. You know what I mean? It's a lot of man hours probably put into this. So it'll be cool to see where he goes to next with it. You know, just dialing it in even further. You know, smoothing it out and whatnot. And who knows? You know, in a couple more, you know, takes of this thing could be pretty darn dialed in. You never know what might come up. Maybe somebody sees this and be like, oh, yo, I got that reel sitting in my, you know, in my cupboard. Here, take it. This will look much better than that old VHS copy you have, and so on, and just start stacking it, you know. But beyond all that fun stuff, you can always find more of our stuff at oldmanorange.com. That includes podcasts, comic books like Pizza Boys, and then also you can find Via VHS. Wes, what's the best place to find Via VHS? I know it's on YouTube. Got it on
all the podcatchers.
All of those ones and so on.
Yeah.
I've kept feeling like I want to give like a direct link, but I'm like, wait a second. I mean, I mostly post them on Old Man Orange, so if you get lazy and just want to go to one place, you'll find them there.
Yeah. I will say it will be a cool thing. You know, I'll be releasing my episode on the theatrical cut when we didn't know that this director's cut was going to exist. So you'll kind of have both, compare and contrast.
Yeah, you know, it'll be a fun little mixed match to go back and forth with. But till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Rand Dunnigan, and today our special guest,
Wesley. What's up?
We'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.